Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. In today's story, Opie found out his wife cheated on him with her affair partner who lives abroad on the same week of their wedding. Then his wife tried to off herself after having to face karma for her actions. In today's second story, got some closure and exposed his cheating wife after finding out she had been sending thousands of messages to her affair partner when she was right beside him the whole time. Now let's get into today's stories. Here's a little context. First, we both are currently university students in the same year doing the same degree. Let's start from the beginning. I met my now wife online last year when everything was online and we started talking mainly over text messages. This type of conversation went on for a few months. And eventually I realized I had developed a connection and love for her that I had never felt in my life. I asked her if she would consider getting married as we are both Muslim and don't want to date. We did not. And after talking for a month or two more, approached our parents about the idea of marriage. Sides of the family were instantly open to the idea. For context, I had moved out of Canada recently to Europe for various reasons. And she knew this and loved the fact that I had done this and wanted to join me all throughout this time. She always emphasized the importance of being mutually exclusive and not talking to or even considering other partners for marriage. I held on to this idea really fondly and ensured I never did anything to betray that. She was also very keen on the past I had when I was 15. I was not intimate with anyone but got close at that age, and everything ended soon after I was 17. There were two people she knew this, and it was a somewhat big deal that I had this past. I asked her about her past and she said she had never even talked to a guy as much as she had with me, despite people wanting her in various ways, prom, dating, etc. Fast forward 7 months. And I was on my way back to Canada where I was born and grew up to meet her and hopefully marry her and complete my education. She abruptly started messaging me with no context that we shouldn't do it. And with no reason provided, just started ghosting me and pushing me away. I was too busy in my own life as planned and known to both of us to give my full attention in May this year. So I was unable to take further action. At that time, soon I arrived in Canada and paid her surprise visit at our school. She instantly started shaking and crying and gave me an interesting story as to why she couldn't marry me. She said that I must understand and leave her. Although I can't detail what was mentioned, she needed to travel with her friends to the United States and run away to live a dream life. She couldn't have if she stayed in Canada with her family. I found this to be extremely painful and pushed her to talk to me to no avail. For a few days. After 3 days, we met again. She started making sexual advances on me and I gave in. Although we were not intimate, it was clear the path we were headed on all throughout this time. She was extremely volatile. She knew how I felt for her and continued to meet with me. Although we were meeting, she said we couldn't get married and that there was no way it would work on the same day. She might also start imagining our married life together all in that time. There was one of her male friends she wanted to travel with who kept calling and texting her. And it caused her a great deal of stress, as it seemed to me. For context, she would marry him so that she felt safer with him while traveling with a group of friends. This guy was in America, by the way, and that was the place they wanted to start their travel adventures and eventually roam the world. Despite how crazy the situation was, I pushed and shoved her to convince her to marry me. Eventually our parents met and everyone was extremely happy with the people we had brought. We had multiple family meetings that went amazingly and nothing was wrong, except that after each one, I would talk to her and she would say she felt like she was in an extremely bad place, etc. Eventually we did get intimate. And to me, it was the first time I had done that, and she said it was also her first time doing anything one time when we were together this way. Right. As soon as we finished, she cried really hard and didn't say why she felt weird all in all and interesting. Few months fast forward to the week we were getting married, she had me running around for her passport on the story that her sister needed medical help and she needed to travel with her to America for her specialized surgery. I was running around for both her and her sister's passports. During that week, we also went out together to get a dress for my mother, as she wanted her future mother-in-law to look the best she could at our wedding the next day, which was the day before we got married. She called me in the morning and told me that her mom was really pushing her and was mean to her and that she couldn't take it. She overdosed on Tylenol. I took her to the hospital and got her checked out, and luckily with just some medication, she was okay. Her family found out and was furious, but no one could do anything as the wedding was the next day. On the day of the wedding, I received many different versions of her. Sometimes she was extremely happy and counting down the minutes, other times she said that she wished she had died or had gone with her friends. Anyways, we got married that evening and everything was perfect. I was extremely happy and relieved, and she said she was the same soon after things started coming up that had me on edge. She often talked about how she felt bad for what she did before we got married. She still looked at and opened chats with these friends regularly. She had seemingly deleted everything but had this Google Doc with this guy she was going to marry and checked it too many times per day. I have caught her doing it in front of me. It was always talked off as just a dream of traveling. She said that she was just an organizer. So she felt bad. I was always comforting her on this. Besides the few times I tried to confront her about it. Eventually, I got curious and started snooping. I logged on to her old accounts and scanned through her laptop. She was resistant at first but gave me permission to check her laptop and socials. However, I was not allowed to open certain chats, which included that man and a chat to herself. Soon I did go behind the curtain. I did that and realized that everything had been a lie. She had been in a relationship with the guy alone for 4 years. Even while talking to me, she was in a relationship with him. There were no travel plans. All that was a cover story for her wanting to run away from her family and live with him in America. I always told her I needed honesty in my relationship and that if she had a past, that would be okay as long as I knew and chose to accept it. Additionally, I found evidence which pointed to her not being Muslim and having serious issues with Islam, which was a big deal to me. The time in May when she randomly stopped talking to me was actually her meeting with him in person. He flew from America to see her and they went to a hotel and she was intimate with him. Additionally, all throughout the time we were talking, she would send nudes and sex and have Zoom sex with him. The day I came to see her in school was the same day. Surprisingly, that she saw him off to the airport that day. Although I did not know it at the time, she was even wearing his hoodie in the chats. I saw she had talked badly about me and my family and cursed the fact that I was Muslim with him. I saw stories she told me, but they were different. She mentioned a dream to me where I chased after that man and killed him. But she told him the same dream but that he chased after me and killed me, etc. All stuff that showed she was playing both sides. The passport she made me run for was actually so she could run away with him. I saw a text from the day of our wedding that said she only ever loved him and would never love anyone like that again. She swore that she hadn't talked to him since we got married. But one day I opened her laptop and there were 2 messages from him to her. I confronted her and it turned out that she thought she had blocked him but was using his chat as a diary. Apparently, stuff like I can't believe how much peace I felt there. I have all this evidence saved on my devices hidden from her. I am constantly giving her hints that I need honesty and that she should talk to me. She said she is an INTP, so she does not like sharing, but also said she has shared everything with me. She said and maintains that I was her first true love and intimate partner. Every time I try confronting her, she somehow emotionally manipulates me into leaving it and pushing it away since we got married. I have had 3 overdose scares after arguments. I really don't know what to do. I love her from the bottom of my heart and feel it. Even while writing this, I feel like everything she says needs to be questioned, and she feels this and says it's not fair to her somehow and that I'm being unreasonable. I am not sure where to go from here. I am planning on fully lifting the curtain and discussing everything and seeing where that goes. I want to trust her blindly. I want pure love, but I don't know what to do anymore. Any advice would be helpful. You need to leave this marriage. I understand it's hard for you to do so due to your religious beliefs, but you need to do what's best for you. Your future self will thank you. You're very young and have a long life ahead of you. You have plenty of time to find another woman again that shares the same beliefs as you and is actually loyal and won't cheat on you. I wish you the best of luck. Now let's get into today's second story. My wife treated me like absolute garbage for 2 months while we were moving into a new house. It was supposed to be a positive new chapter for us. At least in my mind, any time I would bring up how I felt like I was alone or how she was treating me like absolute shit with no affection, she would say, "Sorry, I can't do anything right for you." There have been so many red flags, but 8 days ago she decided to just not come home. She has spent the night at her friend's a couple of times unexpectedly lately. And I later found out she was talking to her affair partner for hours those nights on the phone. She blamed me for not texting her the right way and decided she needed a separation to work on herself. I asked about boundaries and how long she needed and where she was staying. And if she was seeing anyone, no reply for 4 days. She asked how I was doing and told me that she had had her first therapy appointment and asked if I had scheduled one. I asked where she was staying. And if she was seeing anyone. Of course, she told me she had been staying at a couple of different girlfriends' houses and that, no, she was not seeing anyone, just working on herself. I was supposed to meet her at a wedding yesterday. And that would have been our first time seeing each other in a week. I haven't slept or eaten right in 2 months. And the night before the wedding, I just couldn't sleep at all. And finally I logged into our shared cell phone account records. She had been texting this guy literally hundreds of times a day. In the past 2 months, there were at least 7,000 incoming and outgoing texts between them and late-night phone calls that went on for hours when she was with friends. There were so many texts, I didn't know how she was even getting her work done during the day, and it was this whole time right in front of me, right next to me, chatting with this guy all day and night while I was busting my butt trying to get this house nice and moved into for us after getting home from my physical job. I am absolutely disgusted. It feels good to know because it answers so many questions. But the fact that I had asked her gently and calmly, multiple times the past couple of months, if there was something going on, if she was seeing or talking to someone else, and to just let me know because we could either work it out or figure out who got what and all that for the divorce. Nothing. Nope, I'm not seeing anyone. I just need to figure myself out and my heart and mind aren't communicating. Their first text were on July 11th and about a week later was when they just started going back and forth nonstop. That was exactly when I felt something was off in my gut. She went on a business trip shortly after that and wouldn't reply to my texts or even answer one phone call while she was stayed over for 3 days. But I checked the records and there it was those days, just hundreds of texts and super long phone calls the entire time. The morning of the wedding, I called her out over text and let her know how dumb I felt for not checking earlier. No response. I checked the records the next day and the number was still being texted back and forth all day until 5 o'clock. When the wedding started, there was no communication all night. She obviously had her affair partner come as her guest this morning. She texted me that I was so dumb for jumping to conclusions and that the phone number is just a close girlfriend. She had been texting with about our issues. I called her out multiple times and she still went on with the lie. She finally gave me her reason for starting the affair. She talked about how she started confiding in her friend because she didn't take any crap and could see both sides of the story. She was seriously still saying while she was telling me all the stuff I did wrong that caused her to start an affair. These people are monsters. They will strike you down absolutely unexpectedly and make your life a living hell. People that you thought had your back forever. I have never been more miserable in my life, and I did combat tours overseas. Good luck to all of you suffering at the hands of one of these people that supposedly love you. We were together for 7 years and married for 3. She left me with all this extra debt with the new mortgage to handle by myself now, and strung me along like she was planning on staying with me while I spent so much money getting things together, as she made me feel like garbage. My heart is shattered. Update. Last night she did a complete 180, telling me how sorry she felt and how she should have never treated me this way, and that she would have her girlfriend call me. I asked if she was in a lesbian relationship with this woman, and she said, no. I told her, sure. Let me see the texts. She said she didn't have most of them. Why delete text threads? Lies upon lies. I told her to have the text recovered to see them, and she agreed. Then she told me I could have access to her phone whenever now. She said she would delete social media if she had to and would let me track her. I wanted to track each other last month and found out she was using her iPad. So when she would leave work, the tracking would stop at the time it lost Wi-Fi. I told her that was not the way a relationship should be. I don't want to be a detective. She said she would get a new job, blah, blah. I'm talking to a lawyer later today. Thanks for the help and advice, everyone. You need to divorce her. She is lost and you will be too. If you wait around for her, get a good lawyer. The debt should not be all yours. It's time to take charge of your life again. I wish you the best of luck. Thanks for taking the time to listen to today's stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and comment below on what your thoughts are on today's stories. If there's a story you would like to share with me about your own situation or someone else's, then please do not hesitate to contact me. Take care, everyone.